Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many benefits from the universe. And so, with that, I hope that all y'all are doing well out there. Barry, how you doing? Miss Susie, how are you? And did I miss anybody? But anyway, so I got the camera down here for some reason tonight, and I don't really like it. So hang on, don't make a noise. Put it up here, back where it belongs. That feels more better, I guess. The camera had fallen down earlier, and I just kind of got it stacked up here. So, it's easy to knock over. And the dog with his tail, and me being clumsy at times. So, but anyway, I hope you all are doing as well as possible under the circumstances, whatever your circumstances might be. And it's been an interesting, week, few days, lots of stuff going on. And, you know, and preaching a doom and gloom is, is in full force. It's interesting, the topics that my spirit guides asked me to bring up. Um, Sometimes starts with a word, like a week ago or something. Something was said that was as simple as this. This is, for example, I can't say this is exactly, but I wonder. This isn't me saying it. Somebody said, I wonder if people, are really getting it. I wonder if people really understand. Are they conscious of what they're doing? Or is it an unconscious thing that they're doing? Hey, Miss Chloe. So good morning to y'all. Um, Blame it on Barry. Um, I was going to do a video. No, that's not true. He and I were talking, and I decided to do a video. But he's in the house. Um, but and I'm just picking on him because we do. We pick on each other. Um, so over my many years of deciphering myself, I've realized, that there are things that I do that it's really an unconscious behavior. Now, it could be some type of neuropathy. I've talked about how I used to do this thing all the time, and I still catch myself once in a while. But um, so here's one of the things that I learned years ago when I was delving into hypnosis and self hypnosis. So, this topic for tonight is the conscious unconsciousness. What do you mean? Well, your unconsciousness is conscious all the time, but you're not aware of it because when you're conscious, it blocks out the unconscious. But if somebody asks you a question about something or the speed of light or something, and you can answer that, it's your subconscious that's working in the background. Okay. It's like an app that's running while you're conscious. Okay. So if some folks are going to be like, Uncle Dave, what the hell are you talking about? Well, there's three particular states. I'm going to call them states of being. Okay. And you could use it this or that or blah, but I'm going to call them straight. It is Tracy, how are you? Let's see. Chloe, Barry. So we're going to start with the unconscious mind. Why? Because if you get the right amount of sleep and so forth like that, your dream time, your unconscious mind takes over. All right. All the functions of breathing, your heart, your kidneys, all of the stuff inside happens. It's running in the unconscious. In other words, it's running and you're not aware of it. It's already taken care of. You're doing it but you're not conscious of how many heartbeats your heart's beating, how much is your body um, digesting the food that you had earlier. It's all working on its own. It's sort of like sort of like an autopilot. Okay, so but that's in the unconscious state. Actually, it is conscious because it's working. But you, the conscious part of your brain, which is another state of being, yeah, they had trouble with me also, Tracy. But here's the thing in self hypnosis. So self hypnosis is absolutely useful. Okay, it's very good to remind and do and stuff, and take control of your brain and to help maintain your sanity or whatever. Because in self hypnosis, it's basically you're putting yourself into a not necessarily a hypnotic state of being, but you're in a meditative state of being. So you're kind of sort of in a dream state. And what the mantra is, so what is it that you want to do? Well, for example, I had a hard time getting up. So I would meditate on, I will wake up at 7 o'clock and feel refreshed. And I will, and then I'll go to work and I'll be at work on time. And, because I was forever late. And sometimes this worked, sometimes it didn't. So, but to the point though, you want to stop smoking, or you want to, like for me, I wanted to stop doing the fidgety thing. So I would close my eyes when it happened, and I would put myself in that quote hypnotic trance, which is nothing more than closing your eyes and just thinking about nothing else but the twitchiness. And you tell your brain, and anytime my fingers start doing this, I will realize it. I will, I will become aware of it. And I want to become aware of it. So every time I do this unconsciously, I want my brain to go, wake up, Dave. No, stop doing it. And so that's what I did. And over the period of time, because I was really doing this finger thing and with all the seizures and activities and stuff, my neuropathies and had just gone out the window. And so folks were like, well, you have to take this pill to take care of that. And then you have to take this pill to take care of the side effects. But so I said no. And I have been working on this now for many years. So I don't have any neuropathy like that anymore. There are times when it seems like my fingers want to do a little dancing or whatever. And my brain immediately goes, uh-uh. So, but I started out with the concentration of when I feel myself do it, I will stop. I'll position my hands in such a way that I can't do this. So, and I have friends of mine that refuse to try it, but I know that they could do it to get rid of some of their neuropathy if they took control over it. So the control is that the thought process is you put it in a nice little um, folder in your head, right? If I do this, then what? If I feel like a cigarette, I'm going to say no for whatever reason, whatever I won't want a cigarette. And if I get the urge, I'll think of honeysuckle and perfume or something. And so that you tell your brain when a particular action wants to take place unconsciously. Um, or for example, when I use the same method when I, was becoming too loud. So I'm learning how to deal with people, and I'm being trained by a spirit guide, literally, that used to ride in the truck with me, White Dove. And the things that she taught me, and so when you start to raise your voice, and maybe you're just want to emphasize something, are you being too loud? Are you being too boisterous? Because us nulls, and we have a tendency to be that way. So I wanted to curb that being loud. So as I start to get loud, there's a trigger that I put in my head. When I start to get loud, remind me to listen, not just keep rambling on or whatever, but listen to the volume and my tone of voice, and who am I speaking to in the crowd. So I have to be careful with where there are inflections and highs and lows, and too loud, too soft, or I could never be too soft. But to the point though, I can absolutely get too loud without really realizing it consciously. Okay, so I tell my brain in this in my meditative state, when I start to get loud, remind me and go, "Hey, Hawkeye, you're getting too loud." And I bring the decibel level down. And so these are just a couple of minor things, but they're very major in my life to have been able to conquer this, where I didn't seem to have any control at all. I now, when I imprint um, triggers, if you will, in my head, that when you start this bad behavior, your brain goes, "Sorry, hang on, come back." You know, you feel yourself starting to be argumentative, for example, and well, I feel, and just I feel like sometimes that people are misunderstood. So I feel like sometimes I just want to punch somebody, and I start out on that crescendo, like I feel like, and then my brain catches up and goes, change this right now. It needs to be lower tone, and it doesn't need to be argumentative. It needs and take a deep breath, you know. And those were the things I did not have control of 25 years ago, and 20 years ago. But anyway, to the point though, and it's very effective. So you have to listen to yourself. But if you really want to stop a behavior, that's the other thing. Imprint it every night when you go to sleep. You can do it when you're driving down the road. You don't have to close your eyes. You just have to think in a meditative state. I was on the highway for an hour each way, so 2 hours or more every day was on the highway, and I could be driving and everything's fine. And go, I want to remind myself, to keep my calm and to listen to my levels, and to not, so you focus on that with which you want to change. All right, now, so you're consciously telling the unconscious part of you, they're both working, but the conscious mind is only working when you're conscious, but the rest of your brain is always working. Okay, it doesn't quit. It's recording everything, it's hearing everything. So if you put a if you put something in a message box in your subconscious, that's a better subconscious versus unconscious, but you're not conscious of it. So, but it is unconscious, but it is your subconscious. I know it's confusing. But if you ain't awake, then it's the other thing. It's the unawake. Now, being unawake, so you're conscious, you have implanted these little guides and things along the way. I'm not going to get angry, whatever it is, I'm going to recognize certain things, whatever it is that you put in your subconscious, you have to reinforce it. So is some folks can get it like you can do a self hypnosis on something and do it one time and it catches. Now, those of us like myself that have had a lot of brain damage, literally, I have to reinforce whatever it is that I wish to change. So, like my neuropathy or my, using the F word all the time. I was horrible, and I still have bouts and things where, and I don't want to be that way. And I really apologize when I, use the F word, because I have been trying not to be that way and just rambunctious and whatever. But anyway, so, but it is a conscious effort for me because I used to use the word all the time, subconsciously, unconsciously, just blurt out curse words, blah, blah, blah. And, that's not how I want to be. So with that, so if I start out and and the little trigger in my brain goes, nah, 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 no cursing. You said you weren't going to use the F word. Yeah, that's right. So, hey, Coleslaw, Tracy, I've tried the technique of leaving my body and forgot the name of it. Astral, Astral, astral projection. People use the rubber band and snap it, use it for self awareness. Hey, Coleslaw. So, I will go through the steps here in just a bit about astral projection because I want there the three of these states of being: conscious, aware. Then there's the subconscious or unconscious. It's aware. So when you can consciously know that my unconscious is working with me, that's your link to the spirit guides. That's your link to the universe. When you know that, do you worry about how many heartbeats are going? Do you worry about how many breaths you're taking? Are you worried about, just normal bodily functions? No, most people aren't anyway, because it's an automatic function, but your brain's still doing it. It's still operating. There's this computer system up here that's making your kidneys work or whatever and blah, you know what I mean? So you can consciously think about this and slow your heart rate down. You can consciously think about these and slow your breathing. Okay. So that's taking control of the system that's normally working automatically, but it's still all up in here, right? But the state of being conscious and aware and speaking, talking, listening, or whatever. That is that one. Now, in the unconscious or subconscious state, which is anything where you ain't awake, hey, Max, I call my body int. So anything other than conscious is the subconscious or unconscious or automatic systems, right? So, but in that is our dream time and the dream state of mind. So, in that dream state of mind, which is still in the unconscious part, um, is where the astral is, the dream time for Native Americans and so forth. So, when you calm the body and it's working all by itself automatically, and you can control yourself in the dream time. So, yeah, you have to be conscious enough to want to take control of something that is normally an automatic thing, an automatic bodily function. So, but um, the simple techniques that I learned back in the 60s that still work. Um, the number one was to start learning how to trust your instincts. And I've talked about this before, and I don't know if anybody's really used it, but it really works. But anyway, now I always used a clock face, meaning old clock, one, 1 through 12, etc. When I get flashbacks, I close my eyes and write the word stop. The, oh, that's interesting. That's a good idea. And speaking of that, when I was having seizure activities and stuff a lot, 3, 4, 5 a day, right? And sometimes more. The whole day was a one big seizure. When I felt the precursor, that ictal stage coming where, holy crap, I got to sit down. Uh-oh, here we go. So I came up with this thing called subroutine B. So it was telling me to go into safe mode. And it gave me a mantra to concentrate on when my brain's going haywire and my brain's going like this and I can't talk, speak, and hardly breathe. But subroutine B, subroutine B, it gave me something to hold on to in my brain while everything else is just going nuts. But at the same time, though, when I could control the subroutine B just by repeating it, the seizure didn't seem to be as bad. It didn't stop it, but it slowed it down a lot. Okay, not every time, but as many times as I was having it, if I could feel kind of sort of, oh, I got a woozy kind of coming on, subroutine B, not now, subroutine B, which simply meant my heart's still going to go, all my functions is, and I'm going to be okay. All right, where there it was panicky when you get this and you're at work and you're holy crap, I'm fixing to fall on the floor, um, which it came really close like that for a couple of times for the 7 years I worked there. But so having been able to use these subconscious, unconscious things, that they're always there at our beck and call, meaning, it's access if you believe it and are serious and um, understand whatever your own process is. Like for me in the seizures and subroutine B. For Tracy, um, I close my eyes and write the words stop and cursive writing with my eyes to get the PTSD movies to stop. See, so there, whatever works for you to stop the activity or if it's a panic attack or whatever it is, so that whatever that behavior is, that folks would go to a hypnotist for, the self hypnosis is nothing more than you reaffirming to yourself with your eyes closed, without anything else going on, I wish to stop this behavior. Or I wish to do this behavior. Like for me, I was like, I got to remind myself, to do something. Okay, so come on, Dave, despite all the, crazy misfirings within my brain. I'm, I got to remember to do this. I must remember to do this. I must remember to do this, you know. So, okay, brain, listen. And it helps to say it out loud because the brain hears the audio and it records it differently. So, speaking something out loud to yourself, I want to stop smoking. I want to quit drinking beer. I want to, whatever it is. So, that becomes your mantra. In other words, those are the holy words that you're going to speak about. The holy words, I'm going to stop this, or I'm going to do this more often. Whatever it is, okay? And there's, lives in the brain are as complicated and have as many levels. But here's the thing, that's very simple. Because of these states of being, the subconscious, unconscious, it's always tied to the universe. It's always there, always. Not once in a while. You don't have to go outside and build a fire and do a bunch of stuff, um, because your brain, that subconscious, is always working. It's always got the body functions going, which means it's got your dream time in control. All right, and it's always connected to the source. You are always connected to the creator. And the other night when I read the card, the deer card, in that the short version of deer is that, she was called to go up to Spirit Mountain and have a chat with the creator. But on the journey, on the road, there was a demon that was blocking the way. Anybody that came along, the demon scared them away, and so nobody went up the trail. And so Fawn just went up, and this demon tried to scare it and everything. And Fawn says, "But I just want to go talk to the creator." And the gentleness, which is part of the deer, the gentleness melted the demon's heart. And so the road is clear for all of us to walk the path to to up Spirit Mountain, to have a chat with the creator. So the access in these terms is always there. So it's only demons and things that are created a lot of times by us. Now there are real demons, I know, but sometimes we create our own demons or our own reasons for not being able to achieve something. Now there may be circumstances and stuff. That's always the case. Not enough money to do something or something, something, something. What time is it? It's about time to do a 20, I think. What time is it? 1:13. Okay. But so anyway, in this conscious, subconscious, awake, not awake, the um, is where the astral plane lives. All right. So what I was saying about a clock. So pick a clock. Now, normally I ask people to pick a round face, but you can pick a digital if you want to. It's too easy to see where the hands are on the clock versus what the numbers say on a digital clock. So you put it in your mind, you look at the clock. I got a round clock right over here, and I look at the clock and go, okay, so anytime I want to know what time it is, I close my eyes. Now, at first, it took me a little while, but there are times now where I don't even have to close my eyes. I can kind of feel the presence of the clock somewhere in my head, and a lot of times I get it, within a minute or two of what the clock says. So, in order to help open up this astral thing, you learn to tell time without looking at a clock. You use your brain. You send out your mind's eye out there, and then you don't have to send it out. You know what time it is without having to really close your eye. You just know, you can feel what time it is from the clock. And wait, what? I know it's a very strange state of being because you're conscious and you ain't, but you are, and your brain's in your head, but it's going out somewhere and looking at the time. It's very interesting. And if you haven't tried something simple like this, um, feel the time of what the clock says. Yeah. You don't, but so um, now this is after many, many, many years of practice. Okay. I can kind of just like, um, I know what the face looks like. I know what and I mean, it's like, it's, it's 18 after. Actually, it's only 15. But you can kind of feel the time. I don't know how else to explain it. But the more you allow yourself to use this and you use it and you're aware of it, I've talked about this before, but I've talked with some other folks about it to get their opinion. And like mechanics who can take a wrench and reach up somewhere and take some of them apart and not look at it, and just they know and can reach up and they know this is screwed, then here's this. And how do you know? Because they've worked on machines and cars and vehicles and such for so long that they don't have to look at any directly at something. They can just use their hands. You can see with your fingertips. I've talked about this before. Same thing with like splitting firewood. They can hit it in the same spot, almost every dadgum time without really trying. It's just your body, you allow your body to do it. You don't interfere. You just allow it to happen. So in learning how to tell time, now the next other thing, as far as learning how to astral project, to get yourself used to it, what you do is, I've talked about this many times before, but if you haven't tried it, please do, and let me know how it works for you. But you find yourself a comfortable in another room, all right, a chair, the bed, or whatever. Now you don't want to go to sleep, but you do want to be comfortable. And daytime, nighttime, it is best if you could draw the curtains if it's daytime, simply to get used to it. But then, um, yeah, it is. It's, oh, now it's 18. Yep, I think I'm ready. Actually, I'm not. Um, so, in the process of this, you get up from the bed or chair, wherever, from the room, your base camp, whatever room or you choose, and you go into the next room and you look at everything in the living room, for example. You look where the chair is, or you look over here, you look at the pictures on the wall, you scan the room, okay? And then you feel how many steps it is to go into the room or whatever room you choose, right? It doesn't, and pick one room for practice, then pick another room for some more practice, okay? Learn how to get around in your house in your dream state without having to, so you go back and you lie down, sit down, recline, whatever it is, and then you imagine yourself getting up out of the bed. You follow every single step. You sit up, you turn, you put your feet on the floor, you stand up, you go through every single motion because it's a remembered thing. All right. So now, this also works really great, because now you can walk around your house in the dark and you won't bump into anything because you will have remembered by doing these exercises exactly where everything is, unless you move the sofa or the couch or something like that, or somebody leaves a chair out, because I've worked with blind people and that's how they do it. So, but anyway, they use their third eye. So you want to use this third eye in that, um, Now it's time. 4:20. It's 20 after the hour, Eastern Elbow Time. So the practice is that you imagine yourself getting up, walking out of the room in your mind's eye. You go into the next room, and here's the key: when you do it in the dream state, which is very close to the astral now, because you're controlling what you're doing where while you're in this state of being. So you look around the room, even though you've seen the your living room or the kitchen or whatever it is you decide to go into a gazillion times. I want you have to pick something that you didn't notice before. Hey, good evening. How are you, Cosmic Cogs? So it's like, wow, there's a spot on the wall, or wow, there's a spider in the corner, or something. So when you go back in your mind's eye and walk back down the hall into the room, sit back down, and then relax, and then open your eyes in the present, right, in the conscious. Now you were conscious of doing this with your eyes closed. So now you open your eyes and you're in the conscious state, aware, right? You were so that means you were in both states at the same time, both states of being. What? Yeah, but it's only one brain. But the thing is that you're making the connection between the conscious mind, which is not asleep, it's just taking a break um, on all the other stuff, and it's focusing on doing this task. The subconscious, which is always working, says, "Ooh, look, we get to play. The two of us get to go play together. Come on, let's go walk down the hall into the living room and see what we can see." So it becomes a game of sorts, right? So, but it's the conscious melding of the subconscious and the conscious present, because you can be in two states of being at once. Let that sink in for a second and take another hit. But the two states of being at once means that in that state of being, you're always connected to the universe. Because once you prove to yourself that you can attain these two states of being through meditation and the walk, and so once you establish that and you feel it, it's like, oh, holy crap, you can't take that back. Once you get that feeling, you have achieved it, you get it, you've walked into the other room somehow, and oh my God. And um and now you find yourself that you walk into the living room and that you open the door and you go outside, and you find yourself on the front porch or the back porch or something, and you're looking at the stars or you're looking whatever it is. So, and you're in two states of being at the same time. You're aware of it consciously, which is quieted down, and your subconscious works with both states. We're always connected to the universe because we can attain these two states of being. Right, Tracy. you know, um, for me, I've done, over 500 hits of between acid and mushrooms in my lifetime. I mean, I did a lot, and I'm not bragging; it's the truth. sadly, in a way. But looking for God in all the wrong places, all right, should be a title of a video I do. In that there are people who, I took mushrooms, I took LSD, I took a lot of stuff. I've had peyote and this and that, not bragging, just fact. But in my search for my shaman role or my spirit, being on the red road, the good red road, um, that I got so high that it was hard to remember that with which I had supposedly learned while on the trip. Okay. So it's like, wow, all these things and blah, blah, blah. And you wake up the next day and it was like, whoa, that was intense. And it was. But now, what did I get out of it? Couldn't write it down. There was like, well, there was something about a something and a this and a that. And I've been writing stuff down for years and it didn't make any sense. So after having had all these drugs and, peyote and mushrooms and all these things, I couldn't remember the most important parts while on that journey. Yeah, it was cool while I was there, but to not be able to remember it. So, in the shaman's journey is to be able to remember that stuff. So, the many times that I've had these, being taken up into the universe kind of things, I remembered them because I wasn't on LSD. But at the same time, I was in a particular state of being, conscious, subconscious, astral, all working in a nice harmony. And, and so there you are. Um, but I could remember it the next day where, induced with acid or whatever, um, it's like it was too much. And then the subconscious couldn't remember it because there was too much information. And there were certain times where there were key things. And have wondered whether or not it was like, um, when I couldn't get any acid, I just don't trust, hey, I got some acid. Really? Sorry. But um, knowing how to, cultivate wild mushrooms and so forth and knowing the right ones and etc. Um, I stuck with the natural and much different. Okay. As far as your speaking to the universe and seeing stuff. And, now from the acid trips I've had, not many things do I remember. From the mushroom trips I've had, there's a few things dotted along the line, that I remember. So, but the long and short of it is, though, there was so much to be seen. I still maybe only retained maybe 5%, maybe, of the experience. So is it worth it? I'm not for or against somebody, doing acid or whatever to have a religious experience. I've not done ayahuasca, but from what I've heard, it's similar in nature to these other. Um, but to the point though, if the true shaman in us is to learn how to do some of these basics, which I had not learned before you do the mushrooms, before you take the journey. Because if you don't have any control of whatever, you don't have any understanding of these different states of being awake and asleep, and that weird wake dream state paralysis thing that many folks have or have experienced, and it's creepy when you can't seem to move. I might start with my toes or a little finger and go, well, that's interesting. So these are parts of these um states of being. Now, how how can we be in these states of being? Um, because we exist. We have electromagnetical stuff going on. We have thought patterns. We have our aura. We have our natural energies. We can take things to help our energies to be more potent, or stronger, or whatever. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But there are some folks in this bid for the understanding of these different states of thought that exist all the time. I mean, my subconscious is going to replay this later on and go over and take notes and go, well, you should have talked about this, or maybe you could have explained that a little better. Well, I'm just doing this on the cuff. I don't have anything wrote down. Um, I want to hire. I don't like to. You can have a pretty good trip with just taking some. Um, oh, what it nutmeg. Be careful, but it'll get you a nice little, you know, slightly out of body kind of, the brain's working and the body's doing something else kind of thing. So the letting go of the conscious, and allowing the conscious and the subconscious to work together. Like I've talked about that little Native American lady that was 90 years old and can do this fine beadwork. And she didn't even have to look down at the beads. I mean, tiny little beads with tiny, even tinier holes. And she just string this stuff up, look down every once in a while, and but it's the same thing. It's that repetition. But you allow your brain to do it. If you're overthinking, you're stumbling and falling, and you can cut yourself. I mean, just whatever. Um, so when you learn that you have control of these unconscious things that you do, simply by being aware of it, you go, "Ooh, oh, look what I can do, and I don't even have to think about it. Holy crap! That ain't that interesting." So, me talking about, hammering something and not hitting my hand without looking at it. You know, there are too many times here recently, I was like, man, I don't want to look now because I'm afraid that if I look at the end of whatever I'm hammering, I'm going to miss it and hit my hand. And so I have to force myself not to look, just hammer it, for all it's worth without looking. You have to trust it. So, as you develop these different techniques and you become comfortable with them, you can tell time by imagining seeing the clock, and you're right. You're within 5 minutes consecutively. And you don't cheat, you don't try to guess what time it is. What you do is you simply look at it. And the reason for the clock is, where are the hands? Is it 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock? Where are the hands? So you look at the hands and their position, and that's how you know. All right. So it's not, well, where's the little hand? Where's it? No, if you look at, if the hands are clearly visible, then you just look at the clock face, and it'll be 2 o'clock, 2:30, 4:15, whatever it is, or 4:20. So, but you have to trust your instincts and believe, 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 believe on a level that some folks have issues with. But um, the mind melding of the conscious, the sleepiness part of us, and our connection to the universe, which is that astral part of us, there's three states of being that you can achieve at one time. Okay, acid, mushrooms, ayahuasca, whatever. Or if you just meditate well and learn how to accept these different things that the brain already knows how to do, accept the, you know, Find something in your life of the little old ladies who do sewing. They don't have to look at their stitches. Me, I got to like concentrate on every stitch and how much. And these little ladies, and now, son, it's like this, ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. My sound's cutting in and out. Hmm. Maybe they don't want me to talk about this. But so, with this discovery of your awareness, and if you allow the conscious, subconscious to work together, and then that next part is it's almost automatic because now you can see when you're in the dream time how it's easy because your conscious is now talking to your subconscious, you know, and it's not creepy, because you've had this practice. Because your subconscious knows where the hammer is, where the end of the chisel is, how to hit it without smacking my thumb. And I just have to let it go. And it's a really weird feeling to like I can't look. I can't look. I got which is really stupid. But when you get to that point, there's there's a level of understanding. Now for each person it's going to be different, but there's a level of understanding that is like, oh, now I get it. It's actually very simple, but you have to allow yourself to see these two states or three states of being. I know there are folks who go, well, I don't know, I don't really see it like that. Well, it's okay. Um, and there are folks who talk about the astral, and there are folks who are connected with a silver or a gold thread or something. Me personally, I ain't seen none of that. But I know I've had out of body experiences because we did with Miss Teresa years ago on the radio station, the story I've told about, um, the experiments we did and proved it without a doubt between the two of us. And so it's a real thing. Rough, rough, rough. Yeah. Yeah, the internet's been weird. Earlier, I move my hand around like that, and if there's a glitch, it'll usually hiccup. But so with the allowing yourself to understand it, just don't overthink it because people, that's what I did. People overthink it. Well, it's got to be harder than this. No, the hard part is just giving in to what the brain already knows. And know it. So you do these tricks like with the clock and the, getting up and going into the room without, while you're still laying on the couch or whatever. And then you start developing, it starts to develop more because as you're aware of these things, then you become aware like a trigger, a hypnotic self, hypnosis thing that, oh my God, I'm kind of awake in a dream. Oh, wow. So that means all three states of being conscious, subconscious, and your astral dream state now. Oh, holy crap. So, but here's the thing it exists all the time. You don't have to create it, it exists because you're alive and breathing and thinking and talking. Your subconscious is working and blah, 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 blah. So it's automatic. It's already working, and it is always working as long as your brain's still working. And even when it's not, there's still unconscious things, but the connection to the universe is still there. So there are folks who are like, oh my God, I don't feel it. And I got to go pray and I got to go do this. I was one of them. Oh, I'm not going to feel close to the creator unless I drum for an hour. Hey, Katniss. Um, and I burn a bunch of sage and pray. And then as I've talked about over the years, you know, it's really good to do those things. But I have found that I can think of the drum when I don't have it. I can think of a ceremony when there isn't one, and I can still be a part of that ceremony simply by thought, by putting myself back into, what it was like and how the drums sounded and the chanting and and wow, that's just, and I can feel it in the present. Okay. Through my subconscious, unconscious. Now I bring it into the conscious part. I'm remembering something. All right. Now there's two states of being again, right? You're not just conscious, but you're accessing the quiet side of, the dance or the drum or the experience. Okay. So now you brought it into the present. And so that still means that thought is still connected to the universe, it's still connected to spirit, it's still part of the universe because you can still feel the vibration, even though years might have passed or whatever. So, in this quantum realm of different things of realities, the thing is that it does exist all the time. As long as you're alive, these states of being ex- exist. All right. Folks will call it other than, and oh, and then, there's something else and this and that. But you just keep it simple. All right. I'm awake. I'm not awake. Or I'm awake and meditating. And that's the third state, right? Your awareness of it. So once you make yourself aware, then you can plant little implants of um, triggers and good thoughts in your head. So when I feel like this, I'm going to smile and, say thank you to the creator that I felt connected to somehow to the universe today in some feeling or access old thought or a meditation or some music or a drum, whatever it is, right? But that fills your spirit because it really helped you to lift your spirits or to change your, maybe something was going on, it would just pissed you off, and now you heard a piece of music and you've calmed down and Om de we dum da de so now you're back in the swing of things and have got your own drum, your own beat back to you. So there will people who will argue with you that there's more to this than what I just described. But the more I have been involved with this, my own red road, um, my spirit guides and them, they keep saying, don't make it complicated. It's not complicated. Don't make up more than it's because it's always there, Dave. Hawkeye, pay attention. This energy is all around us all the time. And as long as, even when you're sleeping, your brains are working, right? And so, whatever's going on in the astral or in the energy or within my own dreams or whatever the heck is going on, right? Or the angels bringing me messages and I'm going places. And recently, I was in a classroom and it wasn't like a school setting, but it was in a class type setting. And I don't remember what was being taught, but there were using a chalkboard and everything. And on the way out, everybody, the one of the teachers was standing by the door on the left hand side. And I remember stopping, and the room wasn't very well lit. I think there was some video that we were watching, like a projector or something. But there was light in the room. But I turned to this woman, and she was quite surprised. And I said, "Thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad I've got a chance to meet you." And I walked out, and I thought at the time, now that was not appropriate for that for. But at the moment, I was like, but I had to say it to whoever this person was. It meant something to her because the look on her face keeps coming back to me for some reason, and I don't know why. But she was like, "What?" It just surprised her. So, but I'm hopefully I'll find out what that might be in that one of those states of brain, right? So, once you get the basics, and I'm hoping that anybody who watches this video and listens will start. If you've not had them, start here. It takes persistence. You don't just get it the first time. Some people do. They've already been used to it somehow or whatever. And then there are folks that, but don't push it. It's in allowing it to happen. Now, when Brian was alive and we had chats about some of this stuff, and he's like, there's these people that tell me that, they see these bright colors and they see this and that and this and that. He goes, I don't see that. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus, because neither do I. And we got along really good in that because what other people seem to have projected from their experience of this, they had this dream and it was like this, and it's all rainbows and puppy dogs and unicorns and shit. And it's like, okay, nah, don't see it. But we agree we see it in our own way and we do experience it, but not like that. And so um somebody has an experience and they talk about it or whatever. And I think about all the dream times of other people and discussions. And um, I was very much into learning about interpreting dreams and things like this for as one of my hobbies over the many years, right? And so it would be about whoever's telling it, what is the feeling that I get from what this person's relating? What feeling do I get? What is the feeling, not just the words or the incident, but what is the feeling? So it's like feeling of the time. So you don't try to interpret it by the circumstances. You try to interpret it by including what did it feel like? What did this person like? Was it that I was in a classroom? Well, I've been told over the years that later on in life I'm gonna have to go to to school on the Astral or whatever, and I'm gonna have to learn about things, and so that as I learn them and they teach it to me, then I'm here to try to explain it and teach it to you and see how you make out with it, right? So, so here I was in a classroom, and someone that I thought I recognized from before now, or before the dream, and I'm thank you, good to see you, something, whatever, and it was just like, what? Nobody else said anything. All the other people didn't look at her. I don't even know if anybody even noticed that she was there, but she was on my left hand side. I turned and stopped. There were one or two people behind me. They had to like go around. Um, so I remember it clearly. Um, but so why did I make the comments? Why did I speak to her? It was that was different from the dream, from it just being a dream. Something else was going on, is my point. Okay. Because I can took control of just not saying anything and walking out of the room. I'm not noticing this woman over there, or by stopping and saying something, thank you, nice to see you, blah blah blah, and which was totally out of character for the scene. So, but that's my point. There was something about that involvement versus it was just a dream, because I stopped and spoke to the person. I took myself out of the dream portion, although people were still walking out of the room and everything. But when I made the conversation, so I'm hoping you kind of see the point that I'm making. So you're in a dream and it's going on, and you can hear yourself say something, or maybe there's a time when you feel you should say something, or maybe there's a time you feel like you should, shut your dadgum mouth, right? Um, and that to avoid a controversy of some type. So, do you take a different path, or do you allow the dream to finish on its own, and you're just not a participant, but you are watching and whatever, but it feels really real? So the difference then with that is to do something that is out of character for what's going on. Like me stopping and looking at this lady and speaking to her, and so you want to know whether or not something's going on, or whether or not it's real, or whatever like that, then do something that's just a little off the wall, not in character for what the dream seems to be following. And that you can catch yourself as to whether or not, wait, is this just a dream, which there's a lot of them, right? Or does it, or does this dream actually have some context that I should pay attention to? Just saying. So, but your involvement in the dream by doing something simple clicks in your brain. Oh, I'm sort of awake because I just spoke to this lady, as by my choice, where I was just kind of watching everything. The class is over, everybody stood up, and I'm walking out of the room. And so, but now, as I'm doing this, I take control of me in the conversation, and I talk to this lady. Otherwise, I'd have just walked out of the room and whatever, right? So, find that out for yourself. When you're in the dream or in the dream time, is it just something you're supposed to watch, which is entertaining and enlightening and informative, but are you supposed to partake in? Was it somewhere for example, it felt like I was really there when I spoke to her the way I did versus it just being a dream. And her reaction to me, like everybody else, is just, not going to remember. They're going to go back, to their beds or whatever, and they will have been to this class and none the wiser, right? So me, I realize I'm in it and speak to her, and she was like, "What? What are you doing? You ain't supposed to recognize me over here. You're supposed to be like these other people." So that's my take on it for the moment, but you find your own, and just keep an eye on your dreams. And listen, your daytime dreams, your daytime little revelations or whatever. Barry and I were talking about this earlier. And the reason you can have these daytime visions or whatever that can be accurate as hell, right? How can that happen? Guess what? That's proof that the brain, the quiet side and your awake side, they're still working together. All right. When you can achieve that, um, it's that you have those visions or pictures or downloads or whatever while you're awake, and you go, whoa, what was that? That's a different level where most people a lot of people won't ever reach. Why? Because you trusted yourself. The brain has become a part of the, oh, wow, I get this. Oh, I don't have to force it. I just have to allow it to happen. Oh, and then it starts happening. So then in the nighttime, dream time, not awake time, conscious, now because the connection has started to be more solidified. You're used to it. When you go into the dream time, you're conscious. There's a part of you because you're allowing it to happen, and you're aware that you're allowing it to happen, and you're comfortable with allowing it. And as you give yourself these little post hypnotic suggestions, I'm going to not be afraid. You know, I'm going to be relaxed. And, if I feel like I'm floating out of my body, it's cool, you know, because early on there are people, and I had to do this. I had to start at my toes and work all the way up my legs, chest, fingertips up to my heart, and tell my body it was okay. If I left my spirit and went running around somewhere, that it was still going to, if I had to pee, that it's going to wake me up. I was still going to breathe. And so as I tried to relax, I realized that I couldn't breathe all of a sudden. Hyperventilating. And it was because I was anxious about what that feeling might be. Well, but no, but your breathing's going to be okay. Why? Because it's on automatic. It's in the subconscious. It's always working. You got this. Now you can intervene and, slow your breathing, increase your breathing, you do all these things. And, um, but, um, but the body's got this. If you go off astrally, don't worry about it because the backup system is always running, don't worry about it. So when you give into that, and that everything's copacetic with your body. You ain't gonna have to worry about it. You're not gonna get lost out there somewhere. All you gotta do is go ET phone home, and you can be right back here or there or wherever you were. So, it's like click your heels together 3 times. Think about the number 3. So, all right, you're not in Kansas anymore, but you want to go home. Click, 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 boom. Now you can also set that thought up in post hypnotically, like I'm going to go wandering around in my spirit. I'm doing this on purpose, but I'm going to be safe. I'm going to remember where my body is. I'm going to come home safely. If it seems like I'm getting into something that is a little weird, I don't understand, I'm just going to come home. You tell yourself these things ahead of time. That's the self hypnosis. My breathing's going to be fine. I'm going to meditate and off you go. So when you can release the burden, oh, well, am I going to make it? Am I going to buy? Am I going to choke in my sleep? I'm just, whatever it might be, the fear of, leaving the body behind while you are consciously aware of it. So, but the 3 basic states that exist at the same time: conscious, but always working. But now, when you're asleep, the subconscious and the astral both work together during the dream time. And when you wake up, whether or not you remember any of the connections from the dream time you were just in, I absolutely believe that sometimes we're not supposed to remember. We learn these lessons in the dream time, but the spirits don't necessarily want us to bring that dream into reality, to be discussed, to be, whatever. It's a lesson for the dreamer, and maybe should just be left alone. Now well, I had this dream. I was on a bus the other day. I got right there, and as soon as I started to step on, the bus driver closed the doors on me, and I was frantic. And he said, "Well, I didn't see you there, mister." And I was like, "But I was standing right here." And we started to get into an argument, and then we started pulling off with the bus and wouldn't let me on. And I was like, "Wait a minute, when was the last time I rode a bus? And what the hell is this about getting to the door and not getting on?" And I looked at it and I thought, oh, well, I'm always late, but there's a lot of times too where I don't try to fight to be first. I let everybody else just rumble, 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 and I'll be perfectly happy with, getting on last or next to the last or whatever. I don't have to be first in line. So, or the first to get there, whatever. To where some folks that I've known over the years were, they were just anal retentive about it. It was obsessive, compulsive weirdness. But anyway, but so with that said, though, um, this topic could be, beat into the ground. Um, but to many people, and myself included, and it can't be this simple, can it? Yeah. Why? Well, because you're always connected. Well, how do I know? And what's the proof? And blah, 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 right? And so, well, here's your proof, Hawkeye. You know, it's the thing about hammering stuff and not having to look. That's the thing about this. Remember that? Yeah. It's the thing about that. But yeah. And it's this and that. Oh, and it's all connected. Yeah, it is. And depending on whether or not we want to interfere with what seems to be like, well, I'm breathing normally and blah, my heart rate, or if I want to sit and close my eyes and do deep breathing exercises and and which puts you in a different state just almost automatically. It might just be slight, but it still does because your intent changes. I'm going to close my eyes for a second, take a deep breath, good air in. That the intent, the whole act of the intent, and then the doing of it. So two, three different levels here, you know, you're reconnecting with the universe consciously because you already are connected to the universe and always have and shall be kind of thing. So those folks who are searching high and low for the key to the universe, like what's going to get me there? Close your eyes and allow it to happen, and you're connected. Oh, Dave, it can't be that easy. But what if it is? Honestly, what if that is it? That's it, huh? Yeah, but it takes practice. Yeah, but it can be. But it is. We'll see. But the more I have asked, the question of life and what is it and everything's, and the answer has come back quite resounding. People just overthink it too much. And I overthunk it way too much for a bunch of years. And they were like, man, you got your panties in a you got your knickers in a wad, you got to unwind some more. Well, I've meditated on this and I see this picture and they go, yeah, you need to slow down some more. There's patience in this. And you need to look at what you're already doing and assess, like the hammer and the chopping wood and sewing or whatever, my being able to work puppets and be in sync with the other ones and not have to think about it. You just do it. Um, there's magic in that, absolute. But at the same time, it's just natural. But if you overthink it, and then you stumble and bumble, and it turns out wrong, it's like a cake that flops. You might eat it anyway, but it doesn't really look like a cake. So in this new day and time of stuff, one of the messages that I have been getting is that people are going to swear up and down that as these changes are taking place, that it can't be this simple. Wait a minute. So, but Dante sent another video out yesterday now, to believe and believe and believe and believe. And there's going to be more sighting of angels in the sky and stuff and other stuff. And we just have, you know, I'm working for the good side. I know it simply because I'm not working for the bad guys. Well, Dave, that sounds stupid. No, I mean, I'm not doing any kind of demon worship. I'm not sacrificing any animals. I'm not wishing harm on anybody. No, I'm trying to go by the law of one to do no harm to anything. So as long as I stay on that track, then I must be working for the good side. I mean, it just stands to reason. Now, how good a job I'm doing, well, that's between me and my maker kind of thing, but I'm trying the best I can. Um, you know, it's a shame that I reached some of these conclusions so late in my life that I could have done better earlier, but at least I'm still learning. But the wisdom of understanding how simple some of this is, it's like, for example, I talked with a person years ago and I said, as a shaman, ain't you supposed to be able to learn how to walk through walls? And he goes, well, it's so simple, I haven't learned how to do it yet. What? He said, it's so simple, but I haven't learned how to do it yet. And after all these years, I get what he said because, you simply just believe that you can and that your molecules will just walk right to it. And, there is manifesting it and whatever and creating and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, okay. But um, the idea, though, that it's not about how to learn how to do something, it's learning how to not worry about it and just go, you know. What? Yeah. How hard is it? Well, you have to believe that you can. Well, now, I don't have enough belief yet. But I have done some stuff physically that shouldn't have happened. I mean, because I'm old and feeble and stuff. Um, it's like, wow. So you and the universe can get together. And if your chi is working, um, and your karma's in the right spot, okay, so it's 2:08. So we can have a 20 in 12 minutes kind of thing. But so I've had chats with folks and they describing this thing and on and on and on and on and on. And I'm like, hang on, you called to have a conversation. And I'm like, why are you going through all this? Well, what do you mean? I said, well, why you just went through 10 minutes of explanation of this and how, but why don't you just believe? Well, but this and this and this, and off I go again. Well, I understand what you're talking about. No, you don't. And I don't mean to be rude, but no, you don't, because if you did, you wouldn't go back through the same thing trying to explain yourself again blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hang on. No, well, wait. You just have to just relax and believe. Oh, well, you got to do with this. And anytime someone has to um, make a retort, you know, oh, well, I know what it is, and it's this, and it's blah, blah, blah. And they keep going, then they ain't listening to you. They have not heard what you're trying to explain. And so, therefore, they just missed the point. And I love folks, and I have repeated things to certain folks over many years. Why are you getting your knickers in a twat? Um, don't you get this? Oh, well, I had this religious experience and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but let's go back to this simple thing. Do you get this? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And I had this, and my friend, they had an experience with their friend's brother, and okay, let's go back. What about the original question? I asked simply, you know, and they just off the rails, someplace else they go. So, nope, they haven't learned. And I continue to pray that these folks will get it, that it's very simple. I It took me years to figure out that, I was overworking it, you know. Oh crap, I started early. No, but so when I started seeing the thing like when I first saw it years ago, my splitting firewood and how consistent it was and how this and that. And then I started noticing, well, I can do this over here. Well, when was the last time I actually, I'm hammering nails? When was the last time I actually looked at the nail? I mean, just, you know, um, and then it dawned on me there was a lot of stuff that my subconscious had was doing all the time. And I just hadn't noticed. I just took it for granted. And so, but when that awareness came around and I saw it and I started paying attention to it, I was like, holy crap, this is powerful information. You know, that I've been, oh my God, I've been doing this for years and I simply hadn't paid attention. Oh my God, it was right there the whole time. So, but you have to make the discovery for yourself. And I'm still making discoveries. There's still little things that show up, and it's like, oh my, there's another one. Wow, I do that. Oh wow, and it doesn't mean, yeah, they want me to clarify this. It doesn't include um, obsessive compulsion. It doesn't. That needs to get took care of. So if you're obsessive about how many times you wash your hands or how many times you whatever, if you've got something like that going on, you need to have a good conversation with you and the spirit on how that you can plant good thoughts, positive thoughts into your brain that will, in many cases, if you're serious about it, you can stop it. And if nothing else, you can reduce the whatever anguish, heartache, issues, you can take better control of it. Excessive compulsive. Yeah, that's because you're not brave enough to stand up and say no to yourself for whatever behavior you're doing. And it sounds silly in a way, but that's what it amounts to. So you want to get rid of the behavior, tell yourself, I wish to get rid of this behavior. I wish to not be angry anymore. I wish to be more pleasant, whatever it is. And just as you're going to sleep at night or whatever, you can be driving down the highway and just, you know, um, my little trick, I've got an hour to drive and, I'm going to sit here and while I'm driving, I'm going to keep thinking, And I'm just going to let it be, but I'm going to stop being angry, and I'm going to ask the Creator, and I'm going to accept, the hard choices. And I really want, and that's positive reinforcement. So you don't dwell on it, you don't drone on unless you really need to, but you reinforce yourself. Yep, I'm going to do better tomorrow, and I'm going to keep my awareness up, and I'm going to be aware of other people, just whatever it is. So the better and the more you work at it, you're consciously telling your subconscious to tell your conscious, right? So remind me. So I'm awake now. I'm telling myself, and with these little things, remind me later on to don't forget this. Okay, so that's in my subconscious, but it's working. It's got to remember. So you want to encourage it to without being angry or ill or whatever. And it's not about taking command of the situation. You want to work closely with the three sides of your brain, uh, states of being. But they operate separately, but don't. Because when you're conscious, you're not thinking about what your subconscious is remembering until maybe later. But then when you're asleep, you will remember the things that you did while you were awake. So it's working all the time. And the trips and the dream time, I think sometimes, well, I know sometimes that our guardian angels or spirit guides have places for us to go and things to learn and do. I don't think I do feel like I've been hijacked a time or two, but not in such a way as to be like creepy. Have I been probed? Maybe, but it's more that my brain's been probed, that there's stuff in there that, wait a minute, I wake up the next day and go, what the hell was that all about? What was in that classroom I was at? What were we watching on the blackboard? And who was that lady I spoke to on the way out of the room? Inquiring minds want to know. But sometimes, as I've learned, sometimes you ain't supposed to remember. Sometimes you just, oh, I had a dream and it felt like something. I can't remember the rest of it. It may be that you're not supposed to, honestly. I'm early. And not every dream is supposed to mean something. that's what my that's what my folks told me. Oh, I had this dream and it was just a dream, Dave. No, but I remember it. Yeah, because it was just a dream. Well, now what's that supposed to mean? Well, because if it was really important, we might not want you to remember it and bring it into the the awake time. What? We don't want you to remember it. It's for your subconscious only. Oh, okay. And for those of us and you and people who are trying to walk that good red road, um, these are the types of things that will come out. And these are the types of things that, you know, um, it's important that you learn how to understand not necessarily the workings of it, but that it exists. Well, why does no unconscious, subconscious, this and that matter? Because you're trying to stay connected to the universe, right? Well, when you realize that you already are and have been, then what does that mean? That whatever it is you're trying to do with candles or this or that or whatever to connect to the universe is just a bunch of bullshit because you're already connected. You just have to realize it. Oh my God. That it's always there. Oh my God. And God is all around us. The Creator is all around us. The source energy. It is all, and we are part. Oh my God! So we don't have to go anywhere. Don't have to do anything. You and I, we are. We are members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, and it's 2:20, and time for a 20, and 2:20 a.m. on 5/14 of 2022. So years ago, and I can't remember who or what, it was some philosopher. Uh, I think it was, maybe a Buddha or some kind of, shaman or monk. And, Buddha sat still to, feel the earth move. And when you reach that stillness or that nirvana, that place, um, it's that the states of being. And I can't remember exactly how it was, but it was that you can't force a dream to become a reality when the dream was just a dream to begin with. And it was like, what? So, well, I have this dream. Yeah. So, well, and I no, I had this dream. I'm supposed to do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then you try to do it and it just falls apart. It's not working, and whatever it is, because the dream didn't mean anything. It was just a dream. So you try to manifest something that really didn't exist at all. It was just a little movie for your entertainment. And that, but things that really mean something to us and that we feel in our hearts. So there are folks who have this intense dream, they think, and this is the way they're supposed to go. Not necessarily. It could just be a dream. And in that, there's an example or there's a parable or there's a life's lesson in the dream, but that's all it is. It's just a dream. It's not something for you to manifest into reality. And like I really get it now. So if I've had dreams of certain things and I'm like really curious and and I kind of meditate on it and they go, nah, it was for your subconscious. You're good, you know. If we want you to know, you'll remember when it's time. And that's happened too. So if you when you trust the universe, you trust yourself, you trust your higher self, you know, and you got to be honest and make sure you're not making shit up. There are folks who talk, well, I used to do this and that. And I'm like, my spirit guides are going, this person is trying to sell you some snake oil, dude. Well, what do you mean? Because he's he or she or they're telling a lie. And you can hear it. And maybe that's the owl card, the deception. We listen and go, okay. It just doesn't seem real. And there are folks who have the need to be noticed and they need to be needed and they need to be a part of it, but they really don't have a clue on how to do it, so they're fumbling. And it's okay to fumble in the dark. Sometimes you find out, where that stool is that you bump into and break a toe or feel like you're breaking a toe. But so some things just need to be meditated on some more before trying to go off on certain tangents. And I keep praying for some of these folks that they just go from one tangent to another and back and forth, and they're just missing the simple part. You know, you're already a part of this. What are you searching for? oh, well, this and that and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you're already part of the universe. Do you get this? Oh, but blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And and Simon says, and well, okay, but do you know that you're always a part of the universe? Do you know that you're always connected? But such and such. Oh, and the pharaohs of Egypt. Okay. So folks will find all these tangents and all these side roads to go down, searching for what they have overlooked already. So, go learn about the Egyptians. Go learn about the Sumerians. Go learn about the old stuff, right? And see what it means to you today. But should we try to follow the Sumerians from 3,000 years ago or whatever? No, this is a different age and time. Can we learn from them? Sure, we try to recon, reconstruct or deconstruct the history, and but after all these thousands of years, has mankind learned a dadgum thing? We're still at war. We're still poking each other. One guy's got to be better than the next one. I mean, so has humanity or mankind actually made any progress after all these years? If you was an alien looking at it from the outside looking in, you might go, these folks ain't learned shit. They're still fighting. They're still fussing. They're still missing the point. And what the hell? They created all these religions. They've created gods. They created all these things when all they had to do was just close their eyes and understand that the creator is with them all the time. Simple as that. No money involved. No special clubs you got to join. And what? Nah, that ain't gonna go. So somebody had to create all these other things. So to mess with the mind and make it difficult. So we need to deconstruct this and realize how simple it is. And in its simplicity, that's its power. So I've been on here for almost 2 hours, and I had not planned on being here at all, but they seemed to, you know, that this is a good topic. Um, and it is one of the most important basic things in understanding, you know, with all the philosophy and all the different religions and whatever. You're welcome. Does it make sense? I mean, I have pondered this and whatever, and they just keep saying, keep it simple, stupid. You are connected. You are a part of God. Well, that ain't that what the Bible says? That we're, children of God. We're, so, this idea though, so then why confuse it with a bunch of other rhetoric and stories and religions and, but in this day and time, looking for the truth is that simple. Um, you already are connected. So practice and hone your skills on being connected. So for me, that's what my journey is now in my old age is. So, how do I learn new tricks or to listen to the universe and for whatever? So, but I keep learning. I keep finding out that I've known some tricks that I wasn't aware of. So, but anyway, keep it simple, stupid, you know. So it's 2:29 a.m. in the morning time. It's Saturday morning now, ain't it? At 5:14, we survived Friday the 13th, mostly. And I thank you all, Nicholas and Barry and Katniss and Chloe and anybody else that's hanging out in the back. If Michelle's still there, I love you all. I do, and I do. Every day, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And every day when me and Duggar go outside and run around um, and check on the blueberry bushes. Oh my God, I got to do a video on the blueberries. Oh my God. Anyway, but we continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relatives and all of your relations will continue to learn how to. Well, I'm fixing to get out of here right now, Diane. How you doing? But I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of y'all will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And, they keep throwing chaos at us. And we just need to, stand back and watch all this. Uh, they're going to be slinging mud and all kinds of stuff, um, watch the Hillary thing. People are asking why they're bringing her back from the dead. So, that's just one of them little warnings out there, just to keep an eye on, just for the hell of it. You're welcome, Diane, and replay it. But it's a complicated situation that I tried to explain simply. So, if you can, please go back and listen to it again. Nicholas, thank you. Yeah, full moon tomorrow night. Yes, full moon tomorrow night. And, don't try to buy into it's a red blood moon. We're all going to die. It's going to be a full moon. That is absolutely for sure. So, who knows? If in the mood, maybe I'll do oh, there's a lunar eclipse on Sunday. Oh, cool. I did not. I forgot about that. But yeah, okay. Thanks, Nicholas, for bringing that up. Yeah. So Soul Tribe members, sleep well. I'm fixing to move my dog over and climb up and hit the bed. So, Chloe and Susie and Diane, it's good to see you all again. And please stay safe and healthy. And don't panic. They're going to try their best to try to get us all to panic this summer. And don't panic. Even if it sucks, please still don't panic. So be sweet, be kind. Ween, everybody. I want to say thank you to Bob, our AI friend out there. We have to toast him and say thank you for keeping things somewhat stable tonight. And thanks YouTube and all them folks, that I can still do this and communicate with y'all. And sweet dreams, Michelle. But in this complicated world, there's a lot of simplicity and a lot of goodness in that simplicity. So, cosmic hugs, everybody. And until next time, cheers. We and keep it between the ditches. TGFN.